Hello, it's Molly from Pen Hub Studio. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to draw Hedwig from Harry Potter. She'll be my 5th character from Instagram's 6 character fan art challenge, and I'll be drawing her using Faber-Castell Polychromos colored pencils and Caran d'Ache Illuminance white colored pencils. Now, on to the tutorial.
Starting on Hedwig's portrait, I'm using a light warm grey to block in her chest feathers. So with white animals or anything, drawing white anything in general, don't be scared to leave it all white. You've got to put your shadows in to make it look realistic. So I'm just defining the shadow under her wing. Just having very light pressure and just blocking where all her shadows and the feather direction of her on her body and around her face. So I'm just looking at my reference photo, which here it is. You can see what I'm looking at, and I'm blocking in around her head now, adding the shadow underneath her head and face. And I'm going through, this is a slightly darker grey to darken up that shadow under her wing. So you've got to remember, you've got to put your dark shadows in, even though it's white. Don't fill it all in with dark shadows, but you've got to put at least a little bit. So I'm filling in a little bit more, making sure I'm putting my lines in the direction of her feathers. See, there's a slightly darker grey. That's a warm grey, I think. And just defining her feet and her tail feathers, and now up around her beak. So I'm using a dark grey, and I'm just looking at my reference photo, and I filled it in most of it apart from the little edge where the light is catching it, and now around the bottom of her face, and adding a few more darker areas in those shadows around her. And I'm adding a bit of brown. So you've always got add a little bit of colour to make it look three-dimensional. And I'm just darkening up a few areas. So starting on our eyes, I'm using a light orange from the Polychromos range and filling in her iris. Or pretty much all of her eye, really, and just leaving the little catch-light areas white. The catch-light is a little shine that you can actually see on Mort next to her. It's a very important part of drawing an eye, leaving the little catch-light there, because it'll look very strange if you don't leave it. So, very sharp black polychromos, I'm drawing her pupils. So you've got to have very sharp pencil to make this look crisp. So that's probably, I wouldn't have my pencil much duller than that. And making her pupils quite long and thin, because she's an owl. And on one side of the eye, I've left a little bit more of a white area for the catchlight. But as this is very small, it would be very hard to really see it. So I'm just darkening up around her eye and the part of her iris to give it more of a three-dimensional look. If you leave it just all one colour, it's going to look flat. So if you put shadows around the outside under her lids, that will make the eye look round. So yeah, that is a dark brown. So just adding a bit more detail with my light grey. Darkening up a little bit more so eyes looking like they're sitting in her head. And defining around the beak a bit more. So that is with my black. I'm going through and putting some black shadows. Just a little bit, just to make it stand out a little bit more. And I'm going through, making a bit, outlining her a little bit. So generally I don't outline them this much because it's not the most realistic effect, but something like this, I'll just do a little bit. And just make sure you put a shadow around it as well. Doing her little feet, starting with my light colours and working down to my dark colours. And just making sure you're leaving the white areas white and not filling them all in, which is something I tend to do and then have to go and lighten them back up. So she's got these little brown dots all over her wing, but one thing you've got to do, watch your reference photo, make them small and group them together in clumps. She's not like a Dalmatian and she's got them everywhere. It's just along the tips of her feathers there, so you can see the feathers that I've mapped out. So I'm only going to put them along the very edge of them. So little ones, clumping them, different sizes. So I'm using a cool brown, any sort of brown is fine. The most important thing about this is you using the right values, making sure the darks are dark enough, the lights are light enough. The colour really doesn't matter. So I'm adding a few more, just watching my reference photo where they're going, and then I'm going through and darkening up and adding the texture of the individual feathers. So I'm going through with my darkest colours and just going through and defining them a little bit more, darkening up the shadows, making everything stand out a little bit more. That's probably my last stage of any artwork, going through with my white and my black, standing out everything and adding a little shadow underneath her so she's sitting on the little lines. Yep, it's final details. Watching my reference photo. So here she is, all finished.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Now remember, you can follow me over on Facebook and Instagram. Links below in the video description. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. And if you do, you'll be able to see a couple of my other little characters appear very soon as well. So thank you. Bye.